So despite the chaos over the weekend, city commissioners declined to vote or rather extend their state of emergency or their curfew. Instead, they said that liquor stores can no longer sell alcohol after 6 p.m. Nora?
Gabrielle Arzola, thank you so much.
This is the part where people really underestimate just how deep this water can get. Take a look. In just a few steps, I'm ankle deep. A few more, I'm starting to get calf deep. And then that is where cars get stuck. Karina Lopez, who lives here, put it simply when she said, no tenemos nada, meaning they have absolutely nothing. But you know, I can't leave you without a fun fact. So it's called the Artemis because in Greek mythology, Artemis is actually the twin sister of Apollo. The only thing that stopped this boat was this fire hydrant. The Schumans have been married for 35 years. This house had 35 years worth of memories. Officials say because they've been so quiet, they really have no idea where Gabby is. That's actually really interesting. Not really. So even though this indictment is here, he's not being detained. This is something you certainly don't see every day. Duval Street is nearly empty. After that, I asked victim Joaquin Oliver's sister Andrea how she can possibly move on after this. And she looked at me for a moment. She took a breath and she said, "You don't move on after this. You just live with it." All they really heard was just the wind howling, then all of a sudden a crack and a crash. They thought it was a lightning strike. Turns out it was this massive tree that snapped like a twig. Check out this debris. We have metal beams, gutters, couch cushions, even twisted metal. And I made a good old buddy Ed who wanted to have a little bit of lunch before the storm rolled in. Ed, tell me a little bit, why did you decide to come out today knowing that Elsa is on its way?
Well, it's exciting.
It's hard to imagine.
This whole area right here was our living room.
A house that was supposed to be your forever home, now like this.
What is it like looking at this?
Heartbreaking. Doing this the second time.
Lori Schumann and her husband Paul were at the doctor's office on Friday and came back to rubble.
We were gone 40 minutes.
They are no strangers to loss. This is actually their second home. They built this place after losing their first house to Hurricane Michael. A fire sparked just yards from their home, and within 20 minutes, this house was gone. The couple were avid collectors. She's showing me their massive vintage vinyl collection that's now brittle to the touch.
That were worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
As she rummages through the little that's left, she remembers the stuff that's hard to replace.
My dresses, my wedding gown, everything gone.
The Schumans have been married for 35 years. This house had 35 years worth of memories. Now, they don't know when they'll ever rebuild, but they say their biggest loss was losing their 8-year-old dog, Bella, in the flames.
This is just... it's tough.
Today, sorting through the ashes brought some joy.
Oh, my other truck key, thank God.
The little wins, like finding small pictures of her parents unblemished by the flames.
That's my dad when he was a baby.
But in the back of her mind, the loss of her Bella and this home has her at a loss for words.
Does it seem almost surreal?
It is. It's surreal, it's heartbreaking, and it's just like, why? Why is this happening all over again? But this is worse than the hurricane. Because the hurricane, we were able to save certain things. We could go back, and this, can't save nothing.
In Panama City, I'm Gabrielle Arzola. When you meet Edith DeLetto Van Cherry,
my favorite thing to do was play poker.
You probably wouldn't think this lady likes to drink her scotch straight, or that her favorite thing to eat is rare steak and spaghetti, but almost definitely you wouldn't be able to guess her age.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm going to be 100, but then I do because I forget a lot.
But what she does remember is nothing short of amazing. Edith was born in New Jersey in 1923, enlisted in the Army to be a nurse at just 20 years old. Now keep in mind, she stood tall at 4'11" and a half.
I was a half inch too short, so I had to sign a waiver.
It was World War II. She was based in India and remembers caring for wounded soldiers like it was yesterday.
He was in my arms, and he looked up at me, and he smiled, and he died. And that was a pretty bad day.
After 2 years of being a nurse, the war ended. So she got married, moved to Hialeah, and had 4 wonderful kids who've had kids and great-grandkids. Edith stayed being a nurse for years, but there was something else that truly made her heart beat.
So I also hear that you're a big sports fan.
A Miami Dolphins sports fan, to be exact. She's seen every game for decades. Edith says she's their #1 fan, and who can really argue with that?
Who's that dashing young man?
That's Dan Marino, my idol.
So for her birthday, we reached out to some former Dolphins players.
Hello, Edith. Nat Moore here.
It's Kim Camper, 100 years old. Congratulations.
And I just want to wish you a happy birthday.
What do you think?
Oh my God.
We spent hours with Edith and her family, going from story to story that's shaped her for almost a century.
I've had a wonderful, wonderful life.
Her advice to the younger generations?
Just be fair to yourself and just see good in everybody.
She says a century's worth of wisdom is to always live in the moment.
There is no doubt that Naples was hit with a tremendous amount of water. But despite many things being destroyed, like this Naples pier, the people's spirit here isn't. It's been more than 72 hours. Now, driving through the streets of Naples, you can see apartments and multi-million-dollar homes damaged. Water lines showing us how high levels were. What's left now is debris and piles of furniture on the curb that's been ruined by the storm. But with most of the power still out in this area, we headed to the place where locals go.
It was delightful.
Darlena Risby tells me with the storm comes great shells.
Or even if they're broken, I could still make something out of them.
Even broken things can still be put together beautifully. It doesn't take long to see that same spirit across Naples.
You guys find anything good?
Not yet.
A few yards from her, we met up with resident Tim Schell, who says he's looking for old treasure.
Check that out.
But what he's found so far is a memorial plaque of someone else's treasure.
You know, you never know what you're going to find. You never know. One time I pulled out a set of teeth.
Heading over to the famous Naples Pier, it's nearly unrecognizable. We saw resident Steve Weems walking along the beach with his Canon. He's made it his mission to document all of this.
You name it. I've been here every week, and it's just devastating to see this.
The best word I can describe these folks here in Southwest Florida is just resilient. They tell me, yes, even though there's still no power, and yes, maybe internet is spotty, cell phone signal also spotty, they just say that they're happy to live in paradise. In Naples, I'm Gabrielle Arzola, CBS 4 News Tonight.